Good morning, everybody. It's 11:45 a.m. here on the East Coast in the United States, and I am super excited to bring to you today my favorite spiritual book, my new favorite spiritual book. I still have some old favorites as well, but this is my newest favorite, and it is amazing. It's literally one of the best books I've ever read, and I'm only on page 72. You have to check it out. Here it is. Hello everyone, my name is Brian Mercier and I'm a professional Catholic speaker, apologist, and an author, and I'm the founder of Catholic Truth. Anybody from anywhere at any time who wants to know exactly what the Catholic Church believes without compromise can come to Catholic Truth. Today, I want to present to you my new favorite book, which is a bomb in the spiritual life. It's a bomb on our culture. It's a bomb on our age that's walking away from God, that's going in the wrong direction, and that there are more skeptics and more atheists coming out of the woodworks than ever before. And it's not because God doesn't exist. It's because there's a lazy intellectualism, but even more so, it's because people don't know God on a deep level and they've lost God. In this book, my new favorite book, tells exactly why. It's called The Power of Silence by Cardinal Sarah, and it's against the dictatorship of noise. This is literally, as I said, it's a bomb on our culture, which is always busy, always moving, always going, always doing, and never just being. In some sense, we've prayed our whole lives. Many Catholics and Christians have prayed. They've said prayers their whole life, and they still have never felt close to God. They still today don't feel close to God, even though they say their rosaries and pray their prayers, because they're missing how to experience God. And God can only be experienced in the silence. God can only be encountered, that divine entity can only be encountered in the most intimate, deepest level in silence. And Cardinal Sarah, on every single page of this book, gives us that reminder. And I just want to start out by reading just a couple paragraphs to give you an idea of the direction he's going and the imagery, the beautiful imagery that he uses. It's amazing. He says, for some years now, there has been a constant onslaught of images, lights, and colors that blind man. His interior dwelling is violated by the unhealthy, provocative images of pornography, bestial violence, and all sorts of wild obscenities that assaults purity of heart and infiltrates the door of our sight. Game of Thrones immediately comes to mind. In cities that shine with 1,000 delights, our eyes can no longer find restful areas of darkness. And our consciences no longer recognize sin. To a large extent, humanity has lost an awareness of this serious of sin, and we can't find peace. Think about that for a second. Imagine going to Times Square in New York, where I went the other day, and it's a wonderful, marvelous place. It's literally filled with gravitrons and huge jumbo TVs and signs and neon signs, flashing signs of all shapes and sizes, each trying to compete with each other and each needing to get bigger and bigger and bigger. I went there at 2 o'clock in the morning the other day after salsa dancing, and I was walking through Times Square around 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the morning, and it was still filled with people, and it looked like daytime because there were so many lights. Now imagine going there 24/7 and you never leave, and you always have to constantly see the images bombarding your eyes so that when you do try to sleep, your eyes start flickering and shuddering and they actually can't get the sleep they need. One, because it's so bright, and two, because of all the constant flickering. Now let's say that you go for 2 or 3 nights without sleep and you're starting to get super angry and you're starting to get super depressed and you're really needing sleep. In fact, your body is actually getting sick, and it's getting so sick that it's becoming a problem, and yet you can't get the sleep you need because you can't find a single doorway that has darkness. Imagine just going in and opening a door to a dark room, going in that room and shutting the door and just having complete peace and silence. This is the image, the first image that he uses for our world, constantly bombarding us with TVs and iPods and phones and computers and Netflix and movies and video games and works and careers and cars and everything. Now, these things aren't necessarily bad. Some of them are good. But if we're constantly bombarded and we never stop, it's like being perpetually in Times Square, and we will never, ever find God. We'll never experience the divine. But once you open that door in Times Square into a building and you close it behind you and you find complete black, pitch black, silence, peace, and you sit down and you just go to sleep and have the deepest sleep of your life. This is like the spiritual life. We cannot find God if we don't retreat into ourselves and find him in the silence. It is impossible to find God on a deep level if you don't take time for silence. And I know countless directors of religious education and youth ministers and people who actually serve the church and do good things, but never take time for prayer. And this is so important. It's why we don't know God and we can't give what we don't have. So many Catholics I know don't have a prayer life. They don't pray every single day, even though they're considered good Catholics. Listen to what Sarah says in conclusion to this. He says, too few Christians today are willing to retreat inside themselves so as to look at themselves and let God look at them. Too few Christians are willing to find God face to face in silence. Rather, they kill silence. In killing silence, man assassinates God. Wow, man assassinates God by refusing to take silence. You want to know why people are becoming more atheistic today and more skeptical today and are walking away from church and God today? It's not because God's not real. It's because they're not taking time in silence. They don't have a prayer life and God doesn't seem real. And they're so bombarded in so many other things in their life that God just gets pushed away until it seems like he's not even real anymore. Could you imagine a married woman hanging out with 10, 15, 20 really hot men all the time who are all hanging on her? It won't be long till her husband's eclipsed and she doesn't even think of him anymore. I mean, if we're constantly bombarded with all of these things stroking us and hanging on us and clamoring for our time and we don't give God any time, our heart will go to those things that we feed. Our heart goes to those things which we give time to. And if you don't give time to God, he will evaporate and just become a thought and a memory, and he won't even seem real. But if you take time in silence, this book is so revolutionary. It's so transforming. And I don't make any money off this video, just so you know. I'm just saying this is one of the best books you could ever read. Every single page will remind you why we need a relationship with God and how this changes our life, as opposed to our chaotic lives which don't bring us peace. So he finishes by saying, who will help man to find God? His mobile phone, which is always buzzing in his pocket and his fingers are always constantly moving? Developing a taste for prayer is the first and foremost battle of our age. Are we ready for this battle? A taste for prayer, a prayer life is the first and foremost battle of our age. And people, it's a battle. It is a battle because we don't want to pray. We don't feel like it. Sloth is the key sin of our age. Sloth is not doing what you should do. It's a laziness. And in the spiritual life, it's a spiritual laziness. I know I should pray, but I don't. I know I should go to church, but I don't feel like it. I know I should do this and serve the poor, but you know what? I'm busy and I have a lot to do. And we know what we should do, but we don't do it. They say that the road to hell is paved with good intentions. We know what we should do, but we don't do it. This book will literally transform your life. It'll give you peace. It'll give you joy. It'll give you an understanding of who God is. It'll give you a direction and a path of how to encounter him and how to experience him again in your life. It's literally, as we go through this life and we're constantly bombarded again and 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 again with everything, the madness around us. This is a call again and again and again to what's really important, to what's really going to change your life, and to what's really going to give you the peace and fulfillment in your life that you truly long, and the only thing that will get you to heaven. This is the path. So check out this book. It's called The Power of Silence by Cardinal Sarah. Please do yourself a favor. Every single person I know who has read this book has said it's one of the best books they've ever read. It is going to be a spiritual classic, and it's brand new. I'm only 72 pages into it, and it's already one of my newest favorite, best books I've ever read. So, what's your spiritual life like? And does it need a jump start? This is the book to do it. Let me know what you think down in the comments. And if you think this is important, if you think this is what we need, please like this video, share it, and give a comment to it. Because the more you like and share it with others, the more the word gets out there and the more this crazy culture can be transformed. Thank you guys for watching today. Consider becoming a patron and supporting this ministry. And lastly, but not leastly, as always, God bless you and have a great day.